Alright, good evening everyone. We're going to look at how to create a question in Canvas this evening, doing a quick follow-up to the video of how to create a quiz or exam in Canvas. This is how to create a question and begin to build a question bank, which makes it easier to randomize quizzes, to develop and build your own quiz pools or question pools. We'll look at how to import publisher quiz banks later on, but tonight we're going to look at how to create a question bank. So let's get to it. And as always, we'll be looking at our basic sandbox, and we're going to go back to our quiz section, and we can see that we've already built a quiz or started the building of a quiz. And so to go back into a quiz and to begin to add questions, what we want to do is go ahead and click on the actual quiz itself, and we're going to go to and you see that we have 0 points. It's set up in the quizzes section. We'll look at how to develop and build and create groups in our assignment section, but we've left most of our options at default. So let's go ahead and go to the edit option, and again we have our detail section, graded quiz, time limit, multiple attempts, all that fun stuff. So let's go back up here to questions. And so we can see that we have no question banks to pull from. We have no questions to pull from yet. We want to start out fresh. And so how do you build a question in Canvas, or how do you build a question in a quiz without having any question banks? And so fairly easy. It takes time and it is somewhat time consuming, but this allows you to build out your own quizzes how you see fit. We can do question groups, we can just do questions. We're going to focus on just the new question option at this time. So if we click right here, we're going to get the drop down or a new window that pops up that allows us to build out a question. And so we have the choice to name it, question, and give it a specific name. We'll call it question 1 or Q1, and by default it'll just call it question. And then with the drop down box you have multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, and on and on and on and on and on. So we'll look at multiple choice for this for the time being. How many points will each quiz be worth? How many points will each question be worth? And you can change these later on. Leave them by default at 1, but we can change them later on to be more than 1 point. And so in here, this is where you would put in your first question. There we go. And so at the bottom you have your answers, and by default it considers the top one this is where you put your correct answer in. But to change that, you can just hover over each possible entry and just click this arrow, and then it would change the answer to the correct answer. Now again, if you go back and you look at the details, and if you shuffle your answers, it wouldn't matter where you put it because it's going to shuffle them each time. So by default it's always the top one. So we can put in the letter A, the letter B, the letter C, and the letter Z. So these three are incorrect. The top one is the correct answer, so it'll be notated with the green text. If you want to provide your students a feedback option, you can put wow, great job. Hit done. So when the students answer this question correctly, they would get feedback, and you can do that with each of the questions. You could provide them hints, you could provide them information, you can provide them links to sites that you might want, or links to different videos that would illustrate the answer. And so you can continue to add in more answers if you want. You can take away answers if you want. But again, as a multiple choice, you're going to get 4 by default. And when we're done, we hit update question. And so the one question that would come in, so now we have a 1 point quiz right here. There we go. And with this is the first question. So if we want to continue to add questions, we would just hit new question. Maybe we want to do true, false. And with true, false, you can see that by default, true is always the correct answer. What you can do is Monday follows Sunday? True or false? Well, obviously it's true. By default, any answer you put in here, the answer is always going to be true. Now, if you want to change that, you just hit the arrow and make it false. But we know that Monday follows Sunday, so it is true. We hit our update question, and now you have a multiple choice and a true false. If we want to go through and hit details, it provides us the answers as well, and it shows us the correct answer and the how it would be graded with students. If you don't want that to pop up, go ahead and hit that. We want to do new question again. Again, you just go on and you basically pull in whatever kind of questions you want. You can do multiple choice, you can do true false, you can do fill in the blank. However many you want, just keep going and going and going until you are done. And when you are done, you would hit save, and we would see that this question now is worth 2 points. So say, okay, maybe we want to make this worth 20 points. We go back to our questions, and we're going to change these to 10 points apiece. We change the point value. We hit update question. Same thing for this one. Change the point value. Update question, and we hit save. And now we have a quiz worth 20 points per attempt. If you want to give them multiple attempts, you can. If you want to provide them extra time, you can. You can go back into the details section and change up all of these. We can shuffle our answers. So by shuffling your answers, especially for the multiple choice, it basically allows you to just put the correct answer into the top entry, and it will shuffle them each time. But again, through the editing process, you can change up your details. You can sort it into different groups, time limits, multiple attempts, shuffle your answers, set due dates, open dates, close dates, due dates. You can go in here and you can create your quizzes. Now, again, these quizzes won't be shared for other quizzes. These questions won't be shared until you begin to create your question banks, which we'll look at in a second or in another video. But this would get you started. Again, this is allowing you to create your own quizzes based upon the information you provide your students. It could be textbook based, it could be notes based, it could be lecture based. You could do quizzes on videos you have them watch. You could do quizzes on articles you have them read. It really doesn't matter. You just create your own and you call it a day. You hit save and you're good to go. And by default, any quiz you create and publish goes into your gradebook. And so you would see that we have a quiz number 1 out of 20 points. And so each time you create an assignment or you create a quiz, you create anything that has a grade and it's published, it goes into that gradebook. So how do you get a quiz into a module? They're always located in quizzes by default. But what if you want to place it into a module and you want to put it on, say, module 1? Well, again, to add an item to a module, we click on this plus button. We know that it's a quiz. We know that we only have one quiz. So we choose the quiz we want to put into that module. We hit add item, and we see that quiz now is available in module 1. And if there's any restrictions on this module, for instance, if there's a date on this module, lock until, let's just put lock until April 1st. This quiz, anything in this module will not be available to students until April 1st. So any dates that you have on any of these items would be overridden by this module date. Students would get a error message or they would get a notification that they can't access that item as of yet until this date. We want to remove that restriction. We go up here to our edit bar on our module. We uncheck this lock until and we hit update module. And again, now they're all open and free to be viewed by students. So that is how you create a question in Canvas. And again, it's up to you to go through and begin to create your own questions, create your own quizzes, unless you have a publisher's test bank, which we'll look at in a later video. But overall, if there's any other questions or concerns, please feel free to leave a comment, send me an email, or voice any concerns. But other than that, have a great day and see you next time, and good night.